G'day, as you know, I am Kaylin, and today we're going to be doing a walk through the HR functions. So I'm going to just show you around what all the functions are that are available when you activate the HR module. So if we move on over to our user module, if you do have the HR module enabled, you will immediately see that there are a few extra options there. Now these options that are displayed here are dependent on which ones you have selected in the configuration module and your features. Now, an easy way for you to actually go and activate or deactivate certain features is if you go to your Jumpstart menu, you'll see that there is a HR function there. This will only be available if you do have that module. So you can just click on that. The first step is to select your resources to use. So this is where you can specify which of these functions would you like to enable. So you can go and I've obviously gone and enabled everything so that I can just show you all those. But amongst these are some disciplinary actions that you can fill in here. That'll be a training session on its own that we'll go through there. And then you've got your medical fitness and class and language and a few extra things there. Okay, so we have selected what all we want. If I go back then to our browse employee screen, we've got all our options there. Perhaps what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the screen for now. We'll come back to this Jumpstart and I'll show you how you can add certain default values in there. If we just move on over to our dependents section, this is where you can go and specify, how many kids this employee has. I'm going to use, let's go to Melanie. I've gone and put in 2 kids there for them. So she has a kid of 8 years old, a daughter, and she has a son, Daniel, which is 6 years old. If you need to go and add in any more dependents, or then obviously one of the other employees you want to go and add in, you simply click on add, fill in the name of that dependent, fill in the date of birth, what their relation is. Obviously, if the kid does have a phone number. Nowadays, the kids are getting younger when they've got cell phones and that. But generally, this kid would not have a cell phone number. But if you need to, let's say it's an older dependent that you've got there. Obviously, email address as well, and then whether they are a female or a male there. So you can just go and specify that, and this will then be added to that record. Obviously, the more information you put into CS Time, the more you can draw out in a report. Once again, you've got your 3 main buttons, which is always there. Your add, change, remove does exactly what it says. And you've also got your send to button where you can print this information directly to the printer or save it to a PDF and etc. there. Okay, so those are your dependents. Pretty easy to go and add in those. You then have your discipline window here, where you can go and add in if this employee has had any specific offense and you want to keep a record of this. You can actually go and specify then what the details are, when did the offense occur, what action was taken for that offense. Now you'll see if I just simply go and click on this, there are a few that have been set up beforehand. I will show you at the end how to set these up then. Okay, so that's your discipline. Discipline we're going to do in a separate video that I can just go through all the details for you so that we can explain each section individually there. There's quite a bit of information in that one. Okay, so that's your discipline. I'm going to close the screen. Your equipment is another one that we're going to do a separate video in because there's once again a lot of information that can be done here. Now the equipment menu can get used if you do issue any equipment. You've got a workshop and these guys need to come and borrow a hammer or a jigsaw or whatever it may be, and you want to keep a record of that, of when it was taken, by whom it was taken, and what was the condition when it was given out or brought back. You can go and specify this. So this is quite a nice extra to have in your, especially when you need to keep track of that then. Like I said, that's going to be a separate video. We'll do those ones. And then you've got your history. So this you can go and specify, what was this employee's history in terms of, this employee has been years with the company. You can initially, as they start out, you can say their salary was this. Each year you can record what their salary increase was, what's their new salary, or then even what is their position, have they perhaps been promoted, and what is their job description. for this, what are they expected to do. You can also go and specify if this is a contract worker. You can say then when their contract is to start and end, and any extra comments that you need to do. Now you'll see there's always a other field in a few of these ones. If you do want to go and configure additional custom fields for these windows, you can do so in the configuration module, and then you can actually go and use those to add in something extra that perhaps isn't here by default. So we'll discuss that one again in a separate video. There's quite a bit of information there. Okay, so that's your history. Third last one is your notes. So you can go and keep track of any notes that you need to. Perhaps you want to go and make reference to diplomas or certificates or something that this employee has and where it's actually been saved. Or any other notes that you need to, maybe check up on so and such a date, on something. Okay, so you can specify who the note was made by. You're going to select which employee this note is for. So generally the one that you've highlighted is going to be in here, but you can go and change that. You can also put in a reference then if you need to put any. There's a reference number or anything that you need to put in there. And then also you can go and specify a file that was perhaps saved. So as I said, you might have scanned in his certificate and you want to keep a track of it. You've got a folder where you've saved all this. You want to just go and specify which file it is that you can go and put in that link. So you can use the lookup button and you can go and find that file. So then it's just everything is in one place. You don't have to go searching for it. You immediately can just come here and take a look where that is. Any extra information that you want to put in, some text there, you can do that. And then you can simply click OK. And we have added a note in there. Okay. The other thing that you've got then is the training window. If there is any training that this employee is to go on, and again you want to keep track of it and what the result was at the end of the day, that this guy doesn't perhaps go on the same training session 3 times in a row and is just not learning or can't pass or whatever that may be, you can go and add in a training record there. So again, you've got your employee that's already selected. When was this training actually done? You've then also got your course code. So I have got a few that's been added in by default. So you can say you need to go and do some computer literacy for argument's sake. And you can go and select that one. And then you can see what the result, enter what the result has been for that course that he's done. Obviously the duration of days, how many days does this course take, where the course actually takes place, and when, if it is a certain course that you need to regularly go for an update in order to be on top of things there, you can say when it expires. So then when that expiry date obviously comes, you know that you need to send this employee for a updated course again in order for him to get the latest there. And again, you can link a documentation, any documentation that you need to that is pertaining to this training, you can link there. Extra comments is also there to put in. Okay, so that's your training session. You can either put it in the list view, or then you can also go to the calendar view and you can just right click on that day and you can click on add. It'll bring you to the same window there where you can fill in that information. So that's your training section for the HR. And then your last one is pretty much the same as notes, but you can go and put in any extra documentation that you need to keep track of here. So you can add a record, you can specify where that file has been saved, and also the description of that document. What is it for? Is it perhaps a medical certificate that you have there? And then again, you have your dates, when it was issued maybe, and when it expires, that you can fill that in. Again, it's just a case of keeping all the information in one location that it's easy to find. You don't have to go into 2 or 3 different systems in order to get the information that you need. Immediately when you come in here, go to that employee and you can find that information quickly and easily. The last thing that's part of the HR functionality, which is not listed in these functions on the left-hand side here, is a function called blacklisting. So if you go to your query or edit and you go to employee blacklist, what this function does is you've perhaps got 3 branches. And this employee was, fired or something, and you don't want this employee to be able to be employed by another branch. So what you can do is you can actually go and blacklist this employee in terms of CS time. What will happen then is once you've actually added an employee here, as the system starts up, it's going to run through all those, the ID numbers. So it works on ID numbers. You have to put that in. It'll run through that, and if it does happen to find another employee with that same ID number, it'll immediately pop up, with a message to say that this guy has been employed and he's actually on the blacklist. He shouldn't be, and you can obviously go and view, what was the reasons for him being fired or what. So in order for you to do that, I'm going to simply click on change because I've got a guy here. In order for you to go and add them, you simply click on add. It'll pop up with this this information block here, and you can go and specify his ID number. As I said, that's a required field, so you have to put that in. That's what it's going to use to run through that. You can also put a reference if there is any reference number that you need to put in, and also then the reason for him being blacklisted then. So yes, this is just a precautionary thing. It's a nice function to use if you want to ensure that a person can't always remember. If there's perhaps you've got a large company, there's a lot of employees that get let go, and there's reasons for each and every one of them. And again, keeping everything in one place, you can quickly come and check here. And actually it's almost automated in the sense that it scans through and checks if there is a guy with the same ID number, and you can just see, okay, what's going on here, and we need to address this. So yes, that's pretty much the HR functionality. As I said, in the next videos that we're going to do the separate, these ones that are a little bit more intense in terms of your discipline and your equipment, and the history one, we'll split those up in separate videos. I hope that you'll join me for those videos and that you'll learn a few things. Thank you. Goodbye.